We're just going over Howden Edge now, and this must be the most remote part of the Peak District.
This is the Derwent Watershed hike, a 65-kilometre hiking route in the Peak District. Starting at Yorkshire Bridge, it goes up Win Hill and along the Great Ridge, across to Knoll and follows the western edge of Kinder Scout, up to Bleaklow and through the Howden Moors, continuing south down Derwent Edge, then along Stanage Edge before finishing back at Yorkshire Bridge. Join me over the next 3 days where I'll be hiking and wild camping along this 65-kilometre loop in the heart of the Peak District.
This first day is definitely going to be the toughest day. We've got about 22 kilometres of hiking to do, and this is the day with the most elevation. I think we've got about 1,000 metres of climbing to do altogether, because the start of this route goes up Win Hill over to Loose Hill, which is then going to follow the Great Ridge to Mamtor. Then we're following Rushup's Edge over to Knoll, and if we're lucky we're going to make it onto Kinder Scout, but we'll see how much progress we make, and we can always camp a little bit earlier if we have to. So let's get going and make our way to the top of Win Hill. So we're 7.5 kilometres in now. We've ticked off Win Hill. Usually there's a nice view of Ladybower from the top of Win Hill, but I don't know, I think a cloud just rolled in and just covered it, so I didn't really have any views to show you when I was up there. Now we have the next big climb of the day, and that's Loose Hill. And we're going straight up Loose Hill, and then that's going to take us along the Great Ridge. The weather seems to be clearing up a bit as well, and we keep getting these bursts of good sunshine. So hopefully along the Great Ridge we'll have some nice views. So we made it to the top of Loose Hill, and the clouds have just come in a little bit again. So we're just getting a little bit of a drizzle. We're also just about at the 11-kilometre mark. So I think we're about halfway through the walk-in today. Sun is setting at 5 o'clock, and I'd like to have a pitch by 4 o'clock really. So I've probably got about 3 hours left of hiking. So I'm not sure whether I'm actually going to make it onto Kinder Scout tonight, I think as we're going over Rushup's Edge and Lord's Seat, we'll make a bit of an assessment as to how far I've got left and how much daylight I've got left. So let's hike on and see where we end up. So we made it along the Great Ridge up to Mamtor, and now we're on Rushup Edge. The time is 10 to 3. According to my watch, we've got about 8.5 kilometres left of what I planned to walk today. And that's because I was hoping to get to Kinder Downfall and camp near that tonight, because then I'd have a source of water for the night. However, I don't think we've quite got enough time to make it there today. So now the plan is just to finish this part of Rushup Edge, and then we're going to turn off towards Brown Knoll, and then we should be at the start of Kinder Scout. So we'll find somewhere just at the beginning of Kinder Scout, rather than walking another 3 or 4 kilometres just to get to the water. I have got enough water with me for the night, so I'll just have to fill up tomorrow when we get to Kinder Downfall. So let's trek on and make our way on to Kinder Scout. Right, we've found our camp spot for the night. We got ourselves past Brown Knoll and we're just in the shadow of Kinder Scout. So I'm pretty happy with that. We've done 21 kilometres so far, and it was 800 and something metres of elevation. So it's been quite a good walk today. It was very tough the first couple of climbs actually. With all my gear on my back, I sort of felt like that was taking a lot of effort and energy. So yeah, it feels good that we've got the two sort of big climbs out of the way, and the rest of the walk's going to be a bit more undulating rather than really steep. So the sun's probably going to set in the next 15 minutes. So I'm just going to get myself some food and chill for the evening really, and get ready for a big walk tomorrow. Last night was pretty cold. It was hovering around 0 degrees for most of the night. So to help warm me up a little bit this morning, I finished the climb up onto the top of Kinder Scout. So the plan for today is to continue walking along the edge of Kinder Scout up to Bleaklow. Then we're going to circle round the top to Howden Moors, and we're going to see how close to Derwent Edge we can make it. I want to do a big day of walking today, so we're going to go 25, maybe even 30 kilometres. That should be quite doable really today, because there's not as much climbing in the route today, although there's a few ups and downs. And I think there's going to be a part over Howden Moor which is quite boggy. But before any of that, we need to stop at Kinder Downfall because I need some water. That's the water sorted. Let's get hiking. So we're at 13 kilometres now, and after a little bit of marching along some flagstones, well, quite a lot of marching along flagstones, We are now on the approach to Bleaklow, and it's a good couple of 100-metre climb, but I think it's the last significant climb for today. It doesn't look too steep either, it looks like quite a gentle slope. So we're going to make our way up this, and then we're going to make our way over to Howden Moor. So that was Bleaklow. I've done about 18 kilometres so far today, and it's 2 o'clock. So that means I've got about 2 hours left of daylight for hiking, and before I need to find somewhere to camp for the night. Without sounding too dramatic, this is also possibly one of the most remote parts of the Peak District. Plus it's an area I haven't really spent too much time in. So I could do with getting a bit of a move on really, because I want to hit my 25 kilometres and I need to find somewhere sheltered for tonight because it's supposed to be a little bit windy. So we've had a bit of a change of plan. The conditions going over Bleaklow were just so tough. It was just boggy and muddy and just scrambling over small mounds of mud. And there wasn't really a clear path, so navigation took a little bit longer. And I was thinking in my head, I'm going to have to really power through and probably not really enjoy the hike as much. And then I arrived at Bleaklow Stones, and the views are really good. There was also a couple of nice places to pitch my tent. I know I've got another hour of potential walking, but the spots might not be as good, the views might not be as good. So basically I thought we'd cut the walk a little bit short today, and we'll add those kilometres onto tomorrow, where I think it's going to be, or it was going to be, an easier day of walking tomorrow anyway. So yeah, let's set the camp up. So I've set the camp up, but the mist has just rolled in and it's supposed to be with us for most of the night. So I think it's time to just have a little bit of food and have some rest for a big day of walking tomorrow. what a difference the day makes. Although I think the mist is only supposed to be with us for the first part of the morning. We've got about 25 kilometres left of the Derwent Watershed loop, and that's going to take us on to Howden Moor and then down to Derwent Edge, and hopefully if we've got enough time we'll make it up to Stanage Edge as well and circle back to where we started 2 days ago at Yorkshire Bridge Inn. We're just going over Howden Edge now, and this must be the most remote part of the Peak District, and it's just so barren as well. There's no features, there's just trussocks of grass and more bog than you can believe. I've heard a lot of people talk about just how boggy and muddy it is up here, but it's really tough going. You know, your feet are soaked, you're sinking in like 2 inches every step, so it just saps the energy from you. And then for the bog you can't go through, you have to climb up these really peaty, muddy banks that are just, hiking around this area is just so much hard work. Your progress is just really slow. So I'm really glad I didn't push on last night, because there's nowhere to camp around here either. But once we come off Howden Moor, we've probably got another couple of hours of bog squelching, and then we're arriving at Derwent Edge. We are now on our approach to Back Tor, which is the start of Derwent Edge for us. I'm very happy about that, because that last section over Howden and over all that moorland up to this point has just really taken it out of me. It might be a bit of the fatigue from the last couple of days hiking as well, but we'll just say I was struggling. And now I'm very happy because I've got a good path again and I can see Derwent. I've actually clocked up 19 kilometres of hiking as well. However, the time is 2 o'clock and it's going to take me a good hour and a half to walk over Derwent Edge. So I've made the decision that I'm not going to go up Stanage Edge today. So after Derwent Edge, we're going to head straight down to Yorkshire Bridge, where we started this hike 2 days ago. Here we are back at the start of the Derwent Watershed loop. It's definitely been a good adventure and a very tough hike, but now it's time to go home.